first, I have to say it is a honor and a pleasure to have a chance to speak with you. When I get a chance to speak to queens, empresses, people who have made such a remarkable contribution to the arts like you have, it's always mad respect for somebody like yourself, and knowing the struggles and the accomplishments that are made over the years, and being such an amazing role model. I tip my hat and I bow to you and say thank you for what you've done for the arts here in Canada.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed by your words. I'm very grateful. Thank you. I'm very overwhelmed by your words. I appreciate it. I say always I operate in a vacuum, and literally I keep my head down and I do my work. And I appreciate your words very much. You are very much an inspiring presence. You've been in this media game for a long time, and have always reminded us that there is a space for us. So I thank you and I honor you as well for being
Thank
here,
you.
and let's know that we can do this.
Thank you so much. Speaking of honors, you were
Yeah.
recently honored too,
I
correct?
was. Oh my God. Can I tell you? Can I tell you? I cried for a week. Can I tell you? I couldn't
Well, you got
stop
to
crying.
tell us what it is. What was it that you were just recently honored?
I am one of the honorees for the Her Music Awards, which is put on by SoChem Foundation. And I have to tell you, my mouth dropped open. I got an email, my mouth dropped open, and then I couldn't tell anybody because I had to keep quiet. So I'm like, well, I gotta tell somebody. Can I tell my mom? It was a huge, huge honor. I'm so pleased by that. Yeah.
What was it like to be at the ceremony and then finally getting to the podium and saying what you needed to say? And like, what was that experience like?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not good at writing speeches. That's the first thing everybody should know. I never write a speech. I never write a speech because I rarely win anything, and I don't like to anticipate. Because if I write a speech that I'm anticipating winning, which puts me in a different mind frame. So that's the first thing. And then I realized on the drive there that I should prepare something because I already know I won this. But by then I'm in traffic. I'm in Toronto traffic. Okay. So there's no time to think about about writing a speech to nobody, because Toronto traffic, you got to make sure you don't drive over one of those new traffic policemen that we have out there. So getting there and being surrounded by women and women identifying artists was mind blowing. Every age demographic, every race demographic, every culture demographic was represented in that room. We had young people in there. We had Jackie Richardson, who was there to be my mom. So every range, and all of them were there, excited to see each other. And there are very few spaces that are available for women to see each other, women artists, to just look at each other and go, hey, how you doing, sis? I always say networking for women is different because men, when they're musicians, they go to the bars. They hang out at the bars, they'll have a drink, they'll listen to the band. It's very casual. A woman can't go to a bar with the same casualness. It's not a safe space for us unless we know enough people or unless we go within a group. It's a space that we have to understand that we have to have our guard up when we go. So having those opportunities to network and have fellowship with other women is special. So walking into that room, seeing all the women was mind blowing. My parents couldn't be there, but I brought my neighbors who I've known since I was 14, and my daughter and Jackie Richardson and one of my other dear friends, and being able to speak about who they were in my life and how their love, their support, their kindness actually allowed me to move forward in my career. So as much as I was accepting their word for me, I was honoring these people in my life who have allowed me to be who I am, and
Absolutely.
important. Yeah.
What'd your daughter think about all this? What does she even think about you and knowing the things that you've accomplished?
My kids, I got to tell you, it's one of the things I said in my speech. I used to come home from I'd be in France at some concert and be signing autographs for like half an hour. Then I get on the plane the next morning, get home, walk in the door, and my kids would be like, "Hey, mom, what's for dinner?" you know, and I'm like, "Well, let me just go wash my hands and I'll get to it." So to have my older daughter there, she said she saw me differently that night because I really spoke about what I've gone through in my career. And I don't often have the opportunity to talk to her about the no's, how the no's come, and you have to take each no as the brick that it is and put it down and step on it and wait till the next no comes, put that down, step on it. And those are your steps to success. And I think that was the first time she actually heard me when I said it and actually realized that I wasn't just saying that as a mom, I was saying that as somebody who has done this my whole life, you know. And she got to see other young women, and see them going for their dreams. So I think that was inspiring to her as well.
What should have
But
inspired her, and I'm just curious, were you in Edmonton last year for
I
the
was,
Juno Awards? Because you were nominated, and congratulations.
yeah, thank
Uh,
you.
okay, what should have been inspiring was the fact how cold Edmonton was.
Wait, I loved it. Child,
Ah, no.
I walked everywhere. I walked, I had my coat on, I had my mucklucks on. I was good.
Mm-mm,
But it was
mm-mm.
cold.
Yes,
It
every
was
time I stepped out of the hotel, I was like, nope, get back right back in there. Thank goodness everything was a short walk,
it
but it
was.
was still cold
It
and
was
windy.
cold. It was very cold and windy. I was prepared though. I'm a dog walker. I got a big dog and she loves the snow. So I always have a lot of, winter things. But the winter in Edmonton was different from Toronto because it was that dry cold.
Yes.
And if you're not used to dry cold, you have to dress differently from. In Toronto, you just had to layer so you can
Yes.
keep the warmth in. But Edmonton was it was like somebody slapped you in the face and then went, "Oh, you still awake? Let me slap you again."
Exactly. What was the experience like though, having that nomination, and congratulations on that too.
Thank you. Going to the Junos is always very, very special. It was a whole different experience because I got to go with my co-writer, co-producer, Donna Grantis, who's also one of my very, very good friends. I got to share this honor with her. She was so instrumental in making sure this album got made. So being able to be there and just go through the whole thing, even the getting ready for the Junos was exciting. And I say this not because it's been said before, because it really is true for me. I really do appreciate the nominations. I really do appreciate that acknowledgement because there are hundreds of musicians out there who have not been nominated, who have not ever had that opportunity to sit there and say, my work was deemed worthy of mentioning alongside these other very talented people. So I never get caught up in the winning part. I get caught up in I get to go and do this and see other musicians. And for me, that was the first time that I had been around so many of us since the vid,
Yeah.
since the pandemia. And so that was that was overwhelming for me to sit in a room full of artists and look around and think about what we had been through as artists, how we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were ever going to be able to make music again, to produce music again, to showcase music again, to sit and listen to new music ever again. And to sit in that room with people who believe in music, that was powerful.
Not only that, I mean, we're still, you think about it, because of the ramifications that happened during COVID, who knew where we would be? Because really, last year to me was really the first real
That's it.
Junos.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think people realize that, people talk. in my circles about, I'm just getting back into it. I still don't. I'm like, we've been in a state of shock. We
Yeah.
went from completely closed into all of a sudden, oh my God, I got to hustle again. I got to hustle again. Everything's open. And nobody knew what the New World Order was. So last year really was the first year that we went, okay, we're out here. We don't have to wear a mask. Okay, we can be in a room full of people. Is anything going to happen? Is it going to close down? And everybody kept waiting for that next shoe to fall. So
Yes.
nobody was completely relaxed. Nobody was spending all of the money because we don't know what we're going to have to do. I'm in Portugal right now, and we went to walking through the airport and hanging out with my parents. And now I'm at a conference called the European Blues Challenge, walking around and looking and realizing 4 years ago, literally 4 years ago, we were stuck in our homes. And now we walk around like nothing, and people stare at me when I wear my mask in the airport. Like I'm some sort of alien, but I was wearing a mask before COVID. I'm not going to lie. And so,
I still
you know,
wear my mask when I'm
yeah.
subway, airport, on the plane.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I still
yep.
wear my mask. When because you mentioned about you're in Portugal now, and I hope you're having a great time. I hope the weather is good. Did
It's
you
good.
ever think growing up that you would talk about being in France, being in Portugal, being able to uh and I use the term with you, the arts, because that really is what you provide. Because as a singer, as a spokesperson, as an act, and when I say actor and actress, I never know which one's the proper
I'm
thing
an
to say.
actor. I'm an actor.
Actor. All of these different things. Did you ever think growing up that you would be able to accomplish this, especially what we just mentioned earlier about that word no, or you're not supposed to do this, and who told you you can do this? Did you ever think you'd be able to accomplish these things?
Well, this is what I spoke about in my speech, the speech that I didn't write because I wasn't prepared. But anyway, I spoke about my first no, which was when I was a little girl and I was living with my great aunt and I wanted to sing in the choir. And the choir master told my aunt that not only could I not sing in the choir, but I couldn't sing at all. She didn't think I'd ever be able to sing. And then my next no came in the way of just understanding that I'm not a singer. And my theater arts teacher, Mrs. Caddick, I will forever call her name. Mrs. Caddick, Mrs. Caddick, Mrs. Caddick was my theater arts teacher. And she said to me, my grade 12 year, she said, you should be a singer, because I would sing during my presentations. And I said, well, I like singing, I like singing, but I think I'm going to be an actor. Oh, you'll always act, but you need to sing, and I went, okay. And went off to Sheridan and had a really horrible experience at Sheridan, where they told me that I could sing Black one more time for one more production, and then I wasn't allowed to sing Black anymore. And then kept having these experiences of not being accepted as a singer, and found out at 25 that I had a hearing loss in my right ear that stopped me from hearing bass. So I don't hear bass in my right ear. I hear it moderately in my left. So all of these are no's. And then calling up a major record company saying I want to make a record, and having them tell me that there was no room for any more Black female blues artists in Canada. So no, I did not imagine, because I didn't understand that there was room for me. But what happened was, at some point after I got a divorce and I had raised two kids on my own for like from 98 until 2005, I stopped wanting to hustle for other people. And I decided that I was going to hustle for myself. And in 2006, I wrote down in my journal that I am no longer afraid to admit that I want to be great. And in 2007, I stood on the stage in front of thousands of people at the Montreal Jazz Festival, while this wave of energy came over me. And I watched it come over me and I watched it leave me. And the next morning I woke up knowing that's what I was supposed to do, and crying. And I opened up my journal to write about it. And the first thing I saw was, I am no longer afraid to admit that I want to be great, written exactly a year before. And I started writing on my vision board everything that I wanted to do. I wanted to go to Europe. I wanted to do festivals. I wanted to make another album. I wanted to perform with Kev Mo. I put all this stuff on my vision board. But I want to go to Japan. Like, I can't even tell you, I want to go to Africa. And from that point on, I didn't think about what was possible. I just, like I said, I kept my head down. And every single no that came, I'd say thank you. And I just changed my course a little bit. So as a young girl, I didn't think this was possible. But as an adult, I didn't think about what was possible. I just thought about what I wanted to do. Because the only thing stopping us is us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as big as those obstacles get, we are the biggest obstacle to our success. And I'm not saying that to be trite. I've been in bad situations. I had to go on welfare when my marriage ended, because I didn't have enough money to pay for daycare, and I made too much money for me to have a subsidy for daycare. So in order to pay for my kids to get daycare, I had to go on welfare so that I could work. If that even makes sense to the mind, what they will do to stop you from doing what you can do. So for me, it really is this thing of, I don't care about the no's other than just to say thank you. Anything I want is possible.
And that possibility has manifested into, do you believe, a new album or
Yes,
new
it has.
music that is out? So please talk about this.
Hold On to Love was written before the pandemic. We started going to the studio in 2017. I got a grant from the Toronto Arts Council. And rather than staying home like I normally do, I decided to take that grant, pay my rent, pay my expenses, which is what it's there for, and take my butt off to Martinique. And I stayed there for a month and I wrote and plastered my walls with these big pieces of paper with all the lyrics on it. And I would FaceTime Donna every other day, and we would sit there and we'd write the songs together, go down to the beach and I'd write and read Denise Dahlin's book. And then I come back home and I write them out on the big pieces of paper, look at it, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, change the lyrics a bit. And then when I got back, I drove to Minneapolis where Donna was living, and we finessed the songs for 3 days. And then that fall, we started recording. And then I had like 3 or 4 tragedies happen, one after another. And I got distracted. And then COVID happened and couldn't do anything. And thanks to Donna, Roger Costa, who's my other producer, and Massey Hall, who became a huge support for me. I'm part of the artist development program there. I was able to finish the album in 2022 and release it. And it's all about love. Yeah. It's about Black love. It's about self-love. It's about activism love. It's about romantic love. It's about queer love. It's about love and what we need to continue going, which is love. And that's
Amen.
it.
Amen. Amen to all of that. When are we going to get you back here in Canada? And is there any chance you're going to be hitting some shows here? Are there any television or movie projects coming up? Like, what can we expect for 2024?
I'm going to be walking my dog by the Humber River at about 9:30 a.m. No, I am really busy right now. I'm in Portugal for 2.5 weeks. I'm going to take a little bit of time off, but I'm also going to be doing a lot of writing. And then I go to France for 10 days. Then I come back for 2 days, and I just got accepted into the Key Change program, which means that I will be doing a show in the UK the beginning of May. And then I come back home, and then I go to Portugal at the end of May. And then I come back, and then I go to Switzerland in June, and then I come back, and then I go to France and possibly Italy in July. So I really will just be coming home to walk my dog and and change my clothes. I don't know. I'm hoping to be in Toronto performing at some point, and maybe something during the Jazz Fest. I hope. I love playing in Toronto. I get super nervous about it, but I do love it. It's a lot of fun.
Last question. If we could go into that hot tub time machine and go back in time
You did
to
not say hot
that.
Tub Time Machine.
I love that movie. I love that movie. So I always use it's either that or it's the DeLorean. It's one of the two. And
Oh
I
my
like the
God.
hot tub time machine. But if we could go back
Mhm.
to a very young lady, which is you as a child, if you could sit you on your lap to give advice for the future, what would you tell yourself?
Did you see the movie Origin?
Of course.
That little boy came out of the pool and had to walk past all of those people and had to and laid down on the lawn. And there have been times in my life when I felt as alone as I imagine that little boy felt,
Mhm.
when I felt like I didn't fit in, when I felt like I would never find my place and I would never find the community that I needed. And when those words came out of somewhere and said, "You're going to be all right. You're going to be just fine." I'm paraphrasing. I wept. I wept like a baby. I would not change my journey, but I would tell myself, "You are going to be all right. It's going to be all right." Because I think that in itself is sometimes all we need to know. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to go way down, and then it's going to come back up again. You're going to find your people, you're going to find your joy, and you're going to be okay. You know, I think we
Amen
need
to
to
that.
other that.
Amen to that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for making time to speak with me.
Thank
Congratulations on everything that you're doing. You need to write a book. You know that.
you.
You need to do it
I don't need
before
to write
somebody else does.
speeches, and you want me to write a book?
Before somebody else does, because you know how these people are. Next thing you know, you had an affair with Obama or something, and you know.
Shh, don't tell nobody about that.
But no, thank you so much for this interview.
I
So
thank you for
appreciate
your
this.
time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.